Today, I want to talk about something that has carried me through some of the hardest and happiest chapters of my life. A belief that has pulled me forward again and again, even when I wasn't sure where forward was. And the belief is this: it is never too late to learn something new. I don't care if you're 60, 70, 80, or you've just blown out 90 candles. The door to learning doesn't close unless we close it. And I'm living proof of that. But before you think I'm one of those people who has it all together, no, I have the bloopers to prove otherwise. So let me take you through the funny, messy, inspiring truth of what it really looks like to keep learning at any age and why it might be the best gift you ever give yourself. Here's my life as a serial beginner. Some people spend their whole lives perfecting one thing. I, on the other hand, have spent my life perfecting the art of starting over. I learned guitar at 30, which at the time felt terribly late, because we think we should all be prodigies by 9. But I practiced, I kept going, and eventually, after my divorce at 38, I joined a band in my 40s. And I will never forget the moment we were performing one night, and I looked out at the dancing crowd and thought, wow, they paid me for this. Little did they know I would have done it for free. This was the moment I realized learning something new can give us joy, a feeling of aliveness that nothing else can quite touch. And thankfully, I didn't stop there. In my late 50s, I learned hypnosis. In my 70s, I went much deeper and trained in QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique. Yes, my friends, in my 70s, I learned how to guide people into their past lives, but sometimes couldn't guide my own voice into a smooth sentence. I swear there were days I sounded like a frog who had lost its will to live. Hypnotizing people when you're trying not to cough is a skill all on its own. And then came Canva in my 70s. Oh, yes, the magical tool that can make something beautiful or make you accidentally crop your head off in a thumbnail. Books? Well, most of my books, totaling 5, were written after 70, because apparently that's when my creativity decided to wake up, stretch, and say, all right then, Liz, let's make up for lost time. Then in my 80s, when sensible people take up knitting, I decided to learn YouTube. At 82, that included scripts, lighting, and thumbnails, talking to a camera like this, and video editing, which I'm still convinced was invented by someone who never sleeps. Yes, there are fears that come with learning late in life. Now, let me tell you something important. Learning something new at 30, 40, or 50 comes with excitement. Learning something new at 60, 70, or 80 comes with questions, and sometimes a little, probably a lot of fear. I worried that I wouldn't remember all the steps. No one would care what I had to say. I'd start something and lose steam halfway through. I'd spend money on something I couldn't finish. I'd run out of money because I wanted to finish, or I'd look silly. Or my favorite one, that I'd record an entire video with my camera off. And may I add, that last one did in fact happen twice. So if you think fears or mistakes mean you shouldn't start, my friend, those fears are simply a sign that you're human. When I look back, I realize I never had a grand plan. I simply asked myself 2 questions when something piqued my interest. What's the worst that could happen? And what's the best that could happen? Fortunately, what's the best that can happen always won out. Most of the time, the worst isn't that bad. The best, however, well, that's where life kept surprising me. I didn't always feel confident. I didn't always feel prepared. Sometimes I didn't even feel sane, especially during the years I was writing my humor column, Clara Kravitz. there I'd be typing away, laughing at my own jokes, thinking, my goodness, if anyone heard me right now, they'd think I'd absolutely got lost right off my rocker. I even learned to do ventriloquism and named my wonderful old gal puppet Clara. Perhaps one day I'll introduce her on here. She's a feisty old gal, well, nothing like her owner, but something beautiful always happened when I kept going. I felt alive again. I felt purpose. I felt joy. And every time I learned something new, it opened another door. Coaching women in my 60s, teaching them how to lose weight and keep it off without dieting by strictly rewiring their brain to think different thoughts. QHHT in my 70s, books and Canva in my 70s, YouTube in my 80s. Every chapter added to my story, not despite my age, but because of it. The funny and perfect side of learning, let's be honest. Learning something new isn't all epiphanies and breakthroughs. Sometimes it's really messy. Sometimes it's ridiculous, and sometimes it's just plain funny. Like the hypnosis days when my voice sounded like that tired frog I talked about. Because with my age, as you can hear now, my voice became croaky, and I wasn't sure I could stay awake through my own induction. Or the times I finished a full YouTube video and realized I forgot to press record. Or the technology years, the phone and computer in my 50s, when I felt like I was in a constant wrestling match with buttons that moved when they shouldn't. But you know what? Those moments didn't stop me. Here I still am. They gave me great stories and they gave me confidence. Because every time something went wrong and I survived it, I thought, well, if that didn't stop me, what else might be possible? There's such a beautiful side of learning late in life, really. People talk about learning for achievement, learning for money, learning for career. But when you learn something later in life, the gifts are different. They're richer, they're deeper, they're more personal. For me, one of the most beautiful moments was that night I mentioned, as I shared earlier. I looked over the dance crowd while I was singing with the band. The music, the lights, the people moving, and this sudden realization washing over me. I get to do this. This is my life, and I chose to learn something that brought me here. Or the first time someone cried during a QHHT session because they finally found healing. Or the first time someone read one of my books and said, Liz, that changed my life. Or the first time I uploaded a YouTube video at 82 and thought, well, here we go again. These moments didn't happen because I was fearless. They happened because I was curious, just curious enough to begin. What learning something new really teaches you is every time we learn something new at any age, it teaches us more than the skill itself. It teaches us that our brain still works, that our heart still cares, that our spirit is growing, that we are all still capable of surprising ourselves, and that we are not finished yet. You see, learning isn't just about new knowledge. It's about remembering who you are and who you can still become at any age. If you're watching this and thinking, well, I'd love to try something new, but I'm too old. Let me speak to you directly. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are simply at the perfect age to learn something that matters to you. Do it scared. Do it slowly. Do it imperfectly. But please do it. Your joy is worth it. Your growth is worth it. Your next chapter is worth it. And if I can start YouTube at 82, you can start anything. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this inspired you, please consider liking, subscribing, or even leaving a comment telling me something you would love to learn or try, no matter your age. Because remember, it's never too late to learn something new, and you are never too old to shine. If you're still breathing, you're not finished. Love you. Bye for now.